Episode 277 of season 9, brother. Too Thick is in the house, brother. Hey, what's going on? Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, levity. I'm Jeremy, joined as always by the man himself, Manny being Manny 6.9.
What's up, Jerry? I got my cigar. I got my sunglasses. I'm excited. What's up, Too Thick fam? It's meat sticks. It's tummy sweats on the ones and twos. Back at it again. We missed you. You probably are wondering, where the hell have these kids been? Well, guess what? We've been on hiatus and we loved it. Jeremy, explain.
Yeah, so last weekend was Manny's birthday, so happy belated birthday to one Manny being Manny 6.9. He
Mhm.
turned the big 2-4.
Oh, yeah.
A young man who's keeping this podcast full of youth and vibrance. Manny being Manny. Happy birthday, sir.
You know, people are going to think I'm 24 and because of how I act, but I'm a lot older than that. I wish I was 24. I wish I was 24 rocking those Zion cases with 100K cards, but it wasn't in my cards were let's lose some money. So,
You're kind of turning into a little bit of a douchebag asshole, and I like it. When I got on, you were holding a measuring tape up as if you were measuring what's in your pants. You rocking the sunglasses, and now you're walking around with brown things hanging out of your mouth.
you like that? Well,
I'm not mad at it.
you know, I saw a video of someone measuring, so I was like, well, I wonder where I'm at. And I was like, right here. I was like, is that normal? I don't know.
Bam. Shout out to you. It's Kaylee, baby.
Uh-huh. 2 kids.
Yeah, it was nice. Here's the thing. I have to give Manny credit. He
Uh-oh.
he said something and it resonated with me. And I am known for being the thinker. And it was like, why force something or why do something if it's not enjoyable? And I was like, okay. And I come from the like, the train of thought that you just push through, you persevere, you kept pressing. But at the end of the day, this is a hobby. So if it's not fun, or if it's not enjoyable, or you don't feel like doing it, why pressure yourself into it and turn it into something that you don't enjoy doing?
Mm-hmm.
And
No.
so we just decided, like, hey man, it's your birthday week. The Bears are playing Thursday night. They're one of the hottest first half offenses in the world. Let's just enjoy the week and let's not even do anything. Like social media was like minimal and it
Yep.
was nice.
It was. It was. So yeah, my birthday was last Wednesday, and like you said, you're watching the Bears, but I also had a good friend come up from Arkansas, and usually this is kind of behind the scenes. I'm usually calling Jeremy like, "Let's record, let's do this," and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit back. I'm enjoying it this week, because we started this podcast to kind of share what we do in the hobby, not what others do, and not we don't go after hobby drama. We don't go and say, "Oh, look what just happened," blah blah blah. We kind of want to share our experiences and how we grow. And that's why we started it. Well, guess what? I didn't do shit last week with cards and I was pretty happy about it.
So and that's the wild thing is I have been incredibly active. And I did share a little bit like on the reckless page or once in
Active in cards, right?
yes.
Not the Oh, active in that way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from like a social media perspective, I'm in group chats where I'm getting like wellness checks. They're like, "Are you alive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I'm just kind of chilling. I'm just
Mhm.
kind of enjoying. I've been buying, selling. Orders are popping like crazy. We're moving them quickly. We're buying more. I'm spending a lot of time with Steven, trying to teach him some stuff and like focus some stuff over there. Shipping stuff out to ComC. I sent another 200 cards out that way, and just really enjoyed it. And it's weird because you start to think like you have to document everything, but that's not the case. You don't have to document it. And it was a much needed unplanned break that we didn't know we needed, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I could have documented me dancing. I was at a wedding on Saturday. I could have took my shirt off and said the hobby's alive and start dancing, but you don't need to document everything.
I did wake up Sunday morning to a group chat and like Manny decided to pop in at like 2 o'clock in the morning and let people know that he may or may not be a little bit inebriated.
Did you see that? I re-looked at that, and I was like, "Oh boy, why did I send that?"
So I've always been somebody who prided myself on consuming as much hobby content as humanly possible. I was the guy who avoided flying one time so I could drive, so I'd have enough time to get caught up on everything. I am so out of the loop. It is insane because I used to have a clear understanding, like, okay, this is the wolf pack, and I don't
Yeah,
mean the hobby wolf pack. I'm going to use a wrestling reference.
yeah,
This is NWO. These are all these other people, and I knew where everybody stood. Now
yeah.
I have no idea who's on whose team, who's fighting who, and what we're even fighting about.
What are we? We're probably DX, aren't we? If we're if you put our podcast, we're probably the DX.
We're probably like we're either the oddities or the Blue World Order. Out of sight, out of mind. And then we show up. They're like, oh, there's these guys.
Wait, is the World Order with Bluey or the
The Blue Meanie.
yeah, the guy that's like when he
Yeah,
comes out? Yes, that's my I like that one.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know,
Um,
so
no,
the
there's been big news. I mean, yeah, like it's funny. Can it's funny how like these big things are happening, but it's like comical because like you have like the tops hats and people going crazy to get base cards. I haven't seen anybody pull anything sweet out of those things. Everyone's getting base cards. The front of the hats look sick, but then when you turn it sideways, they have like that big pack. Who's wearing that? It,
I
am I
at
old?
mm, I don't know, man. I don't necessarily love them myself, and I have a pretty crazy hat collection.
Yeah.
And so I was always of the mindset like if New Era or Mitchell and Ness came out with any sort of fitted Cubs hat, I had to have it.
Yep.
And fortunate for me, I'm in a spot where they don't sell Cubs hats here in Michigan, so I'm not even having the urge to try and buy one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to each their own. I just feel like spending $50 on 3 cards how I see it, because 'cause I'll never wear the hat. I did laugh because, the flippers came back. I saw one Instagram post where the guy had, like, 100 hats, and it was like, 50 each. I got them all, and people were eating them up.
You know, I just read an article that the scalpers, the people who flip tickets,
Yeah,
took an absolute bath on what is it? Travis Scott just announced a new tour.
yeah,
And they thought the demand was gonna be insane, so they gobbled up all these tickets, and they are absolutely getting crushed trying to flip them.
yeah, just like the audience. They were getting crushed. That's why that no one wants to go to them.
Courtney might cancel you for that one. I don't
Am I
know.
wrong? What happened at their no, he's canceled.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not
Exactly.
wrong. So I was flipping through, I'm looking at this hat. I'm seeing your boy is dropping he does a really good job of, I think, keeping himself relevant. And I wanna be clear, I don't wanna come across as a hater because I think it's really easy just to be a hater. But your boy Jeff, who when he's not making you personalized shout out videos, is opening a new card shop.
Yeah. I mean, when I was I mean, the look of it looks sick. You know, those old timers are like, "Ethan, I can't have this. I want mine to smell like basement. This one's gonna smell fresh and clean. We need the old hobby back." But what's cool is I think I got this right. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there's an online store that you could buy stuff from his shop online, which
Yeah,
is okay.
isn't it something along the lines of like it's going to be virtually accessible 24/7, and
Yeah,
so like anything that's in the shop will always be available, and it looks like it's going to be big, and it seems pretty cool.
yeah,
Unfortunately for one Jeff, there's a segment of the hobby that no matter what he does, and I'm not saying I'm not taking sides at all, but like no matter what he does, it's not going to be accepted. And so it's just like a weird spot
yeah.
to be in.
Yeah, it's weird how I don't know. He's obviously trying to grow the hobby, right? I mean, he's putting a store in Atlanta. Atlanta's huge market. Especially, I know for a fact Atlanta's like one of the hubs for flipping shoes and shoe stores, resale shoe stores. So why not put a card store? I, I I wish I could own a store, but you see that area where he has like the little podium. I heard that he might get too thick on there. Um, so we could do our weekly podcast on this.
You couldn't knock him for trying.
Exactly.
I
That's
mean,
how
we are good for business. You couldn't knock Jeff for trying, and I think you're right too because I remember when we were talking with Courtney when she got back from Culture Collision. The unique thing about Culture Collision were like the clothes, the art, and the shoes that were at that show. You know,
Mhm.
I'm sure they're close in proximity. So I'm of whether or not you like somebody who owns it. I'm a big proponent for growth in the space.
Mhm.
Some of my favorite shops are ones that are modern. They're cool. They almost have like a barbershop vibe where you're welcomed, you can hang out, you would go multiple times. The
Yeah.
card shops that are around us, Manuel, are ones where you go once every few months reluctantly. You go in with like not high hopes, but a little positive, and then you quickly walk through and you recognize this is why I don't ever come to this spot. It's the same inventory, nothing's flipped over, it's hard to see,
Yep.
it's not cool, it's not modern, there's not sports. The people that are there act like they hate their lives, and that's not cool for growth.
Smells like mold.
Yeah.
Mold. I mean, we never give up high hopes though here in Michigan. I mean, you're a Bears fan and I'm a Cowboys fan, so we don't give high hopes, and we usually are depressed. It's kind of like our local card shops.
Hey, you know what? The Bears are going to run off five more in a row. They're going to get to over 500. Then you're going to have the showdown with the Lions, and we'll go from there.
I like it. Your schedule does open up pretty good for Justin Fields. I hate football. I hate that I had to defend Dak for the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then he goes and puts up that absolute stinker. But it was the whole team. But in our chat, everyone attacked me right when something went wrong for Dak's thing. And I was like, it reminded me of like 300 where I'm like in there and everyone's coming at me. That's what I felt like.
In Chicago, there was like a joke amongst Bears fan. It was always like the Bears' most popular quarterback is the backup quarterback. And
There
what
you go.
that meant was it didn't matter who the starter was. As a fan base, you've already accepted that the starter is not going to be it. So what's the next thing? And I feel like for Cowboys fans, now I'm not a Cowboys fan. I actually they're one of my least favorite teams in all of sports. I feel like Dak is in a situation that no matter what he does, people are tearing him apart. So they're up big. He's being conservative with the football, doing what a good quarterback's supposed to do and not turn it over. And then you have the people come out like, well, he didn't make this throw, or they could have put up 50, 60, but they only put up 30, 40.
Yep.
Then you get in a situation where I firmly believe, and I'm not going to argue this, but I just personally believe that San Francisco is a significantly better football team.
Yeah.
The Cowboys got their asses kicked. I really don't think it mattered what quarterback was up there. That elite defenses don't give up 42. It's kind of hard to win a football game when you give up 42.
Yep.
And so some of the interceptions, because there's people who don't actually watch football and they just look at stats, uh, uh, there's situational interceptions, my friend. There's ones at the end of the game where the game's over. There's ones where it's selective. Hey, it's third and long. We're midfield. If I throw like a long pass and it gets picked off inside the 10, that's like the same thing as a good punt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Sometimes there's tipped balls. Sometimes there's a wide receiver didn't run the right route. But, the average fan doesn't know that. The average fan actually doesn't really know how football works. And
Mhm.
so it's just easy. They watch ESPN or Fox Sports or they read an article and they just regurgitate the same shit that somebody around them says.
Yep. People listen to Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp and think, "Oh, I like their take. Let me just take it from them." But yeah, it was all around a shit show. The offense got outworked. The offensive line got outworked. The quarterback play sucked. The running backs suck. The defense sucked. Everyone sucked. And 49ers are just that much better.
Sometimes it's not that they suck. Sometimes it's what Shanahan did with that team
Yeah,
that
he owns
that
them.
made you don't you it's tough. It's tough, but maybe San Francisco is probably going to make a lot of teams look like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think our coach sucks. I mean, there's a reason why the Packers got rid of him for being too conservative, and now he's play calling, and it's a great. Let me just say, a great play calling that show that I saw the on Sunday, or yeah, Sunday night.
I don't think Dak is a all world quarterback. I don't think he's a perennial Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. I think he's good enough to win you games. I think he has the skill set to make some big time throws, but I don't think he's the kind of quarterback that is going to go out and win you the big one
No, but
routinely.
who is? There's only three of them that are in the NFL that have won a Super Bowl.
There's a reason that teams mortgage the future in an attempt to try to get the quarterback.
Exactly. I mean, everyone's tanking for Caleb right now.
Yeah. It's talking about the Bears, it's in this goofy spot because prior to them winning, going into last week, it had the draft started, they would have had pick 1 and 2. And there's people who are already that Justin Fields is trash and will never be good, or like, hey, it's coaching. And from a Bears fan, it's sucks because if it's truly coaching, wouldn't you like to see what you really have?
Yep.
Or at least put him in a position to be successful. And if you determine he's not your guy, you'd like him to ball out and let somebody else believe in the skill set that's there that you're able to then flip him for even more draft capital. And so it's just been goofy. And then, of course, they come out, they get the big lead against the Broncos, blow that, and then they come out and do what they do. They go into Washington on prime time on the day that Dick Butkus passed and represent for
They
Chicago.
So me watching college football, I could tell you right now, everyone's hyped on CJ Stroud. Justin Fields was a better quarterback in college. He threw the ball a lot better and was way more accurate. I don't understand. This is us bringing it to cards. Why some card, um, I guess not the flippers, but the buyers get so excited with these prospect quarterbacks because 9 out of 10 will fail. I would say 9.5 out of 10 times they're going to fail. There's only what Brock Purdy, and I mean it's still too early for him. If he goes out and just shits the bed, still they're going to consider him a fail. It's just so rare, and it's just crazy to me how the spike of these cards, like CJ Stroud cards, are going for crazy amount of money. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people didn't watch him in college. The dude sucked compared to like Justin Fields.
It's think about like all the all-time greats, truly the best at what they've done, and you see what their cards sell for.
Yeah.
And so the one thing it's truly refreshing, and if somebody's in this and they've got a lot of money tied up in cards, or even a little bit of money, and you feel that stress and strain watching a game, I would seriously encourage you to explore getting out before the season starts.
Hmm.
It has been absolutely wonderful watching a game and not caring that, oh shit, Burrow. I had that $10,000 Burrow card, which is a massive card for a family of however many kids and dogs we have over here. That's a lot of money tied up in a card.
A lot.
And I thought Burrow was probably the most sure thing. I feel like there's cards are in demand. He's on a good team. They're going to be good. And up until like a get right game with Arizona, he has not looked like himself. He has not looked good. His cards have come back to earth, and I couldn't imagine like what kind of stress and strain I would have been feeling.
And it's crazy. It's crazy too because there's like the hobby love will hang on as much as possible because, like for example, Justin Herbert, the dude hasn't done shit, and people are gonna argue with me. He's such a great cornerback. He hasn't even made the playoffs, and but people are still hanging on to his cards, and the prices are as much as Joe Burrow.
What is the thing? I think Cage used to say it back in the day. I'm sure he still does. Was the It's really hard to lose that momentum
Yeah,
and then get it back.
yeah. I
And
don't.
I think there's some truth to that. And I don't understand. I don't understand it. I really don't. And it's been nice though. So I would say anybody who's holding like a specific sport, if you're able to get out, because I think some of the cards that I sold, I could easily buy back in right now, get the same card back for 50% of what I sold it for, a couple months ago, and
Yep.
that's a pretty cool feeling.
And I think I'm not like as a hobby participant, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. And it's kind of like us being scatterbrained. Well, me being scatterbrained, and I'm excited to talk to Jeremy. I think I'm done buying for a couple until the end of the year.
Yeah,
No, I take that back. I'm done buying until the holidays because every year I've been in the hobby during Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, the card market tanks and everyone panics. The hobby's down, blah, panic. Um, but then it comes back up in January. And I think with the excitement of hockey coming back today, basketball is back in 2 weeks. Everyone's trying to sell right now. So I'm not going to buy. How do you feel about that?
I think it's smart. I really do. I've shared it before. A couple years ago, we ran a bunch of auctions, very similar to what other people are going through. I think it was like along the lines of, "Hey, we want some additional money for vacation. We're not going to charge anything like credit cards, or if we charge anything to credit card, we're going to pay it off in full. Got all this upside on these cards. Let's sell it." And I sold a bunch of like Kobe's refractors, numbered stuff, like mid 90s, and it went for like 50, 60%
Yeah.
of comps. And we're talking, a series like, cards that are five, six, seven, $800 cards going for 250, 300, where it was like you're watching that auction end, you're like, oh, there's going to be the big jump. Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing, because you'd never looked at trends at scale before, because prior years you're just fucking collecting, you sell whenever you sell in one or two, not anything at volume. So knowing that those cycles repeat itself, why wouldn't you start building a bankroll? Obviously, you look out for easy arbitrage opportunities or PC items that pop up that are cool, and then just wait and strike then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about doing like a month to month what to do. Like, for example, October is a no buying, it's holding or stacking cash, I think, because you get all the excitement with the sports. Everyone's trying to sell off. They're either a quarterback that's hyped up, aka CJ Stroud, or they're trying to get some they're trying to sell their basketball because preseason started, or they're trying to sell their hockey because the season started. So
Yeah,
everyone's like, and if you buy now, you're not going to be able to sell in November or December for the same price point. So I think like if we go by month to month, October for me is going to be stashing some money for the holidays.
yeah.
I think we should do that, like a month to month thing.
I think November, December, more so towards the end of November and December, I'll start going hard at baseball again.
Yep.
Let whatever is going to happen in the postseason, let that come down, and then just shift there. And then, like, obviously within basketball season, I'm always looking for opportunities where if we're in Chicago, I can buy to bring back to Detroit, like those easy opportunities. And so I've had a couple recently that have been awesome. There was a story sale the other day. I bought a Devin Booker Gold
Yep.
out of 10, got it, put it up on eBay. Somebody hit the buy it now. Moved it simple, quick, made it quick, like nothing sexy, made 100, $125.
Hey, there you go.
But like just being kind of like paying attention, seeing what's out there, knowing what's moving, even if it's not stuff you're selling, it's like, okay, man, there's clearly a demand for that.
Yep.
So like obviously there's the demand, like people think the Suns are gonna compete for an NBA championship, gold, like just easy stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
Easy stuff. So I'm right there with you. I'm gonna kind of try to stash some cash and be a little more selective in what I'm buying, unless it's that like, hey, I can buy it and give it to a repacker right away and make a quick 5, 10, 15, 20% with no risk.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't have that option. So I guess majority of our listeners, if you are new, I would not buy anything basketball, anything baseball in the playoffs, especially players that are playing in the playoffs, and hockey right now. I wouldn't buy any of it, or even like a football. Maybe the only thing that you could potentially buy to make money based on not buy, you could buy at comps instead of like Jeremy saying where you buy 80%, or you could give it to the flipper or something like that. Quarterbacks that have been slumping, like Joe Burrow. Once Joe Burrow has like a little peak, then there's opportunity, but that's a riskier play. So that's why I'm holding off.
Yeah, I I think that's fair. I will like I do think I'm gonna get in some hockey breaks. You know, when like Young Guns come out, I'm gonna try to get some
Kinda.
Bedards.
You could easily flip that in Chicago.
Yeah, and also like it'd be cool to have one in hold because like I mentioned before, like I didn't really get to enjoy the last dynasty of the
Yep.
Blackhawks as a result of like, Kaner Kaner allegedly like, maybe being a little rapey. so, so not exactly the most so I'd like to be able to enjoy it. And I'm just being selective, being very mindful. I have a lot of like big into Pokemon, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen right now. I'm enjoying that space because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. None whatsoever. And it's cool. Like I enjoy it. Like it's fun to learn about stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I'm getting into actually I like TCG. I'm starting to feel like, Jason from DCI. He gets into WNBA, he gets into NASCAR because they're low price points to enter, and you could get some good stuff. I'm starting like this is more like me not trying to make money, just have fun in the hobby. This PC in my Nomar. I just showed you I got a gold auto, but I also me being a big, how I am, a big college football, college basketball. Getting into Bowman, I love what they're doing with Topps cards and the Bowman U. You get the first, it's kind of like prospecting. And there was a little spike, and I realized it last year, like with the Ahmed Thompson cards. And I'm assuming there are more, but I had that specific card. But you could buy prospects, and when they get drafted, it's easy to like a week before the draft and the hype of the draft you could get some good profit off those because there's collectors out there. I already know there's collectors out there because there's guys I'm trying to buy up right now for the next NBA draft, and his market's going up.
I You're spot on. I think we've talked with Brandon and Don. Don really the way Don worded it, and I know that there's been other people who have said this as well. But with like Bowman, there are so many exit strategies.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you can be first to market when they get called up to double A, triple A, when they get called up to the big leagues. Obviously, the Bowman first auto is always going to be the coveted autograph from
yep.
that. So you have like different spots where you can get in and out. What really opened my eyes to Bowman though was there was a Cubs prospect and his stuff was like two, three, $400, let's say for a true orange out of 25 PSA 10.
Yep.
I bought one. He got named to I forget. I don't want to misrepresent what it was, but there was a top 100 list, and like he was on it, and then he also became essentially because I'm struggling to like articulate this way I want. A new list came out, and immediately there was a super spike. So I was in on a true orange on a young prospect with a big bat, where I bought it for $300, and I sold it for 800 in like 2 weeks because all of a sudden people were chasing the Bowman stuff.
Yep.
So one thing, and I haven't quite developed the system, but what I'm going to do with Steven is we're going to go visit some shows and I'm going to give him a list of like 5 to 10 players from each team. That's maybe a little too much. Let's say 2 to 4 players from each team or players that are in the top 100 who are young, big and have like the
Yeah.
attributes of a thick
Yeah.
of a big bat.
Mm-hmm.
Buy them cheap, grade them, and then if like something happens, boom, flip. Look at you, big dog.
Big
Fucking
bat.
Pringle can
Big
in your
bat and
can.
thick. I
Pringle can.
I got two of those check boxes.
But I think what's been nice is being off of social media, I haven't felt any pressure to act a certain way and not that I would change, but I wasn't influenced and if something came to me like I want to try this, there wasn't like, "Oh, how is this going to be received? Am I going to have to navigate the waters of flipper versus collector versus whatever?" It's just like, "Hey man, we're in the hobby. We're treating people good. We're pumping money in that motherfucker.
Mm.
Let's continue to have some fun."
Exactly. And like you were saying, the Bowman baseball, like people shitted on Bowman football and Bowman basketball, but I feel like it's getting a little bit bigger because there's such a big collector base for college sports. And I'm a collector for MSU cards, so and MSU memorabilia. So just think of like the opportunity for this. Like I was going to show you, Jeremy. Here's so if you want to try to get into the Bowman, this is like my advice, I guess. Don't shit on me if it takes or if it goes down and it doesn't work because you already know I lose money. But if you're looking to get into Bowman cards, Jeremy,
Manny's actually been making money lately.
I have. Here, look at this, Jeremy. I've been looking at Michael Penix cards, Caleb Williams cards. This is a 2001, 2022. It's his first Bowman auto out of 99. Do you know who this guy is?
Who is he?
He plays for Washington, and he's like top 2 in the Heisman race, and he's going to be probably right behind Caleb Williams in the draft. So the hype of quarterbacks we just discussed is through the roof. These guys, like a month before or a couple weeks before, they're gonna skyrocket. These cards are gonna go up a little bit. There's probably not as much like, you know, that was sold for 124. You're not gonna get $2,000 for it, but you could get some margins. They have little margins, but it's fun to rip too if you're a college person and collect.
Yeah, I bought that Brandon Miller Bowman U numbered out of 50 auto.
Yes,
And I never would have thought buying that stuff would have led to any sort of additional money in the bank account. And sure as hell, he gets drafted. There's the buzz, there's the people looking for him. You flip it, you make a couple bucks. And so, what I do think is ultimately, if it is because of baseball, I could imagine a situation where football, it's got that first on it. That's his first auto. That's his first authorized auto. That's definitely, and then you get the crossover appeal where it's like, not only that, but oh man, you like the University of Washington? You're a Huskies fan? Why not?
exactly.
Now, I think the one thing it'll always have against it, why it won't see Bowman baseball numbers, is just because of the college uni.
Yeah, because baseball, they're in their professional.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Midwest here is you've realized it. I guess more in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, not really Chicago area, because you guys have like good like the professional teams. Is huge in the college, Wisconsin, and I feel like the region we're in. Why not try the Bowman? They're cheap boxes. They're like 120 bucks for a hobby box. Why not?
So I think you have a great point because the one thing that got us, or one of the points that made TCG appealing to us, was the cost. The barrier to entry was cheap. And I remember the thing that was appealing to you is you can rip an entire case for cheaper than what it was for a hobby box of, like, let's say Prism basketball at the time.
Yes.
You sell a bunch of the base sets, you grade some, you put some stuff on eBay, and it's like easy money.
Mm-hmm.
So that falls in line with this. If you can get and especially it's that much more appealing because you and I ripping TCG, we don't know all the characters, we don't know what the stars mean, we don't know what makes it more rare than the next, but you at least know Caleb Williams is a damn name.
Yep. Yeah. And the thing that I love about the hobby kind of took my advantage away is I can't prospect basketball players. And that's what I'm really good at because that's all I watch is college basketball when it comes out because they were late because of COVID. So the product's coming out when the rookie season's over. So it eliminates my prospecting. Well, now I have the opportunity to get that prospecting down. I could get these players for super cheap because I know that maybe their draft stock will rise. The margins won't be there, but hey, it will go up.
It it will. So I had a little bit of a conversation with Kendall, and shout out to him. Is what's the name of his new business? Kendall is going full time in the cards, and we should probably get him on and chat about his business and you know provide him a platform. But I
Yeah.
think it's like the Dallas Vault Club or something like that. And
He's only coming on if he changes that tree that he made. He knows what I'm talking about.
that is an incredible hobby flow chart. And I said something where I had myself in stitches because another member made a comment about why do I have these people? And I said something to the effect of like, you've got the tombstones, which is
Yeah.
the equivalent of hobby flow chart, teardrop tattoo.
Yep.
And so I humored myself. But anyway, he was with Jason and Big Sexy from DCI, and they were ripping WNBA.
Yep.
And I think he pulled like multiple Sabrina Golds and all
Yep.
this stuff. And I know people were giving him a little bit of shit. Like, oh, you're not going to make any money on that, blah, 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 blah. So I messaged him privately and I said, hey, man, there's some dope cards. Like, I would love to have some Sabrina Golds.
Mhm.
And I said, just so you know, in my experience, I have done quite well with that stuff. The only problem is you either people are quick to dismiss it because they don't know, or if like you try to have that conversation, you lose a half an hour of your life trying to explain to them the easy math behind it. Hey,
Mhm.
I buy this for this, I grade it for this, I sell it for that. And so we quietly have done really well. Really well. Shout out Nafisa Collier. I've sold some golds of her where I was like, damn, like I
Yep.
can't believe these numbers. So Jason and I had always talked about doing an episode. Maybe we do it on Too Thick, or we were going to do it on Hobby Night School. Was just talking about like our buying strategies and some of the stuff that might be perceived or thought of as outside the box of ways to like you know, maybe make a couple extra bucks to buy the things you want by taking an alternative route. You don't always have to chase NTRPAs of,
Yep.
insert whatever quarterback of the month is. Like there's a way where you can buy stuff for 20, 30, $40 and turn it into a little bit of a profit. So,
Yeah. I mean, if you watch one of the biggest content creators in the hobby, Ryan, card collector too. That dude, he's mostly college sports. In his shop, he sells a lot of college sports. And you see where he's at. You just I mean, your margins aren't there. You you buy at a small price point and sell at I mean, you're gonna make some money. I just feel like people always, like you said, think of like the high top dollar cards instead of, you know what? We're not gonna call it dollar bins, but we're gonna call it cheaper rips, like that you could actually get your money. We have I know Kendall, and then like you said, they were doing the WNBA. They love WNBA. Well, why not college? I know there's big people in the college market, or people in the hobby, I should say, bigger names in the hobby that are collecting Bo Nix cards from Oregon
yeah.
because he's going to be one of the quarterbacks that's drafted. So I've been watching I've been learning in silence, I should say. People have been talking to me, and I just been nodding my head and listening.
One thing that we always shared, or I do with anybody that'll listen, which isn't anybody, is oftentimes you can go into a hobby shop and you can find Bundesliga Chrome hobby box for anywhere from like 50 to 100 bucks.
Yep.
You open that, it's littered with kids who are 15, 16, 17. You get some autos, you get some numbered stuff.
Hmm.
You penny sleeve it, you top load it, you flip whatever you want immediately, and then you wait. Do you remember a couple years ago when Kareem was for like 3 months was on fire?
Yep.
It's a cheap way if you have a little bit of patience because inevitably if you're young and you score a crazy goal, you do something nuts, you maybe you get a brace, all of a sudden there's a demand for that and guess what? You have it. And so it's a cheaper way or if you have a little bit of patience like that we've found great success doing.
For sure. I think I might go that route and TCG. So I like TCG. I know a lot of people like this, like that. They express this is why they used to do soccer. They weren't soccer fans because it was a cheap rip where you get Holland cards in your Bundesliga Chrome. But like Jeremy, for example, you know who's out for their first this year that just came out?
Who's that?
Sanders, Dion's kid.
Oh
The
yeah.
hype around that kid, that Bundes, I mean, his first autos are going to be some money when he gets drafted. He's not going to get drafted this year, so you have some time to get these cards. Don't buy right now. The hype is the hype is high, but you could buy off season some Sanders cards for the draft next year.
I would I think, what happens is you become so inundated with hobby content
Yep.
that you gravitate towards this group of people, and this is kind of what they're talking about. So you like maybe whether you consciously or subconsciously, you kind of try to fall in line or at least run parallel or slightly adjacent to what they're doing. When you're not influenced by that stuff and you allow your mind to wander and you go out and make some decisions, sometimes all people need to know is like, hey, that's actually a really good idea. You were the first one to think of it.
Yep.
Or it's just not popular yet. Roll with it, enjoy it while it's hot. Because if everybody's doing the same thing, buying the same cards, selling at the same spot, that's not really sustainable. But if you can find a way, and I know people say it all the zig when others zag, zag off the zig, all that shit,
Hmm.
why not go for it? Why not try it?
I'm going to, Jeremy.
Like,
Right.
can I share something?
Yeah.
And like I might end up. I think I'll be okay. I hope that I'm really well. Is we did my grades just popped. We were doing that thing with Golden's weekly auctions.
Okay.
You submit your cards to PSA. They grade it. No money out of pocket to you. The cards go from grading. They get shipped to La Vault, and then
Yep.
they go up immediately on the weekly auction. So I submitted 28 cards for it. The order popped last week, went 24 out of 28 with gems.
Let's
And so I was like, I was happy, but I was also like, where the fuck is this order when they're coming back to me and I'm going to hold them?
go. Yeah.
What the hell is this? But the point being is I'm in on a low price point on all those cards where like I know like one of them's like a LeBron gold that like if that even does like 80-90% of what it is, that
Hmm.
card will cover the grading for all of them because what they'll do is after they sell, they'll take the grading out and then pay you the delta. But you know what? Like, hey, it keeps me active. I get to buy some cards. Maybe, like maybe the one Charizard would be a $400 card, but because it gets buried in a shitty auction, it only does 250 or 300. But we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. You don't know until you try. And I think sometimes people listen to somebody else's experience and take it for gospel.
Hmm.
Because if somebody's giving their recollection or sharing their story, how often do you hear somebody be like, "Oh, I mishandled this or I did that wrong," which like impacted it? It's either like, "Oh, they suck. Yeah,
Hmm.
they did this wrong," or like that. Like, let's take some ownership. See what you can do to help yourself.
Yeah, and I hear people say it, stay in your own lane type deal, because there is hobby influencers out there, and I know them personally that got lucky because of the 2020 boom and still kind of making that not maximum profit, but they're still around because they're into the bigger cards now, and that's what they're doing their content in. Which sucks because kids will watch that content and be like, I could do that too. When in reality, they're probably not even making money. They're probably not even buying the cards. That's something that people don't realize. Like me and you have been in the game. A lot of these content creators don't buy cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's here's the thing, and it seems crazy, but if you buy in the off season
Yep.
and you buy the right player and the right product, your room for error is significantly
Yeah.
less.
Yep.
It's goofy because I get it like right now, like, man, it would be cool to have a Brock Purdy. Or I had to fight myself the other day. I wanted to buy a Christian McCaffrey card.
Yeah.
Even though I know like there's a good chance this motherfucker gets hurt.
Yep.
It is the absolute worst time to buy it, but I'm like, man, it would be cool to have a CMC card.
Hmm.
It'd be cool to have something and be like, Haj, you ain't getting this, big dog.
He
You
opens it up. He has 10 of them.
no, it would definitely would have to be like a one of one, but you know what I mean? Like it would be
Yeah.
cool to have one, but like in your mind, you also know, like, hey, now that doesn't fall in line with what we're trying to do over here.
Yep. Because I mean, I fall for it. I watch a game and I get super excited over a player, and I'm like, I gotta go buy it. And I'm like, you know what? You're an idiot right now. Chill, 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 chill.
Like it's been so hard because I sold like maybe 3, 4 months ago, like a decent amount of Jude Bellingham. Do you know
Oh,
how much Jude I want to buy right now?
I know he's so good.
He is so damn good. And I'm like,
Hmm.
this would be like the worst time. Now is not the time.
No, it's not the. Yeah, like he's leading Real Madrid, the best team in the world, and he's producing really well. Holland cards might be down. We might want to check that because he hasn't been playing too well.
I just I don't see how anybody's going to beat Real Madrid. And I don't even think they're playing their best football yet. Like Vinny's still coming back from injury
Hmm.
and I know he was working on his finishing quite a bit in the offseason. I just that team is loaded with
And they're
young
they're gonna get
assassins.
better. They're gonna get better. Mbappe's coming next year. Yeah, like it's not fair.
It's game over. Like I remember a couple years like Barcelona was like, yeah, man, we've got Pedri and Gavi. And it was like you thought that was gonna be something that's gonna look like nothing compared to what
Oh,
Madrid's gonna do.
and that's my team is Barcelona. So it's like it hurts.
I told you when I was on the flight coming back from Spain, right?
No.
All right, so real quickly, I was in Germany at a connecting flight in Spain. In Germany, they brought you out on tarmac, and prior to like leaving the airport, I had bought some like shit to bring home, and they gave me these chocolates. Well, I put them in my pants, and it was raining, and so we're on the tarmac, and there's women, there's children, so I let them get on the plane before me because chivalry and all that. And I'm walking on the plane. I look down. It looks like I shit out the front of my pants because these chocolates melted. And I'm traveling, right? So I'm going from Berlin to Spain to Chicago O'Hare. So I get to Spain and I swear I would never be one of those people at the airport running through the airport. And this airport is massive. Like, and it gives you like in three different languages your time to wherever you're going. Like when you're waiting in line at Great American, it's like you have 45 minutes until you
Yep.
go on the giant drop. Dude, I'm running through this thing. I'm wearing like a sweatsuit. Fucking sweating my ass off. I know I look fucking ridiculous, but I'm like, I just need to get on this flight. I just have like a small carry on. All my other stuff is checked. I get up as they're closing the door, and I'm like within like 20 feet, and they let somebody else on. I'm like, oh man, I'm good.
Hmm.
Show them my ticket, and they're like, we're closing the flight.
What?
And I was like, no, 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 no. Like I'm like, I don't need anything. I'll go right to my seat. And they're like, no. There was a few people behind me. I'm like in awe. Like sad, scared. Like at this point, I hadn't been home in like a month. I'm like, I just want to go home and see my wife and kids.
Yeah.
Aside stuff, they let some pregnant lady behind me on, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna get on because they were speaking Spanish, so maybe she finessed her. And like basically, like they told me like chinga de madre puto, like get the fuck out of here. You're not going. So anyway, I go and fuck Iberia. Never fly that airline. So I'm like, hey man, what do I do? They're like, we're gonna put you up at the hotel. This is where the men's national team stays. So
Ooh.
I was like, okay, cool, nice. My flight's not for like 21, 22 hours, so I basically have a day. Cool, let's get it popping. Got a little money in my pocket. Let me
Got
get my clothes.
chocolate in your
Let me
pocket.
get my clothes. Now, mind you, I was sweating. So I'm like, I probably don't smell the greatest at this point. Like there's not enough that, whatever deodorant, they're not paying me, so I'm not gonna plug them. So they're like, after I wait for like 45 minutes to an hour, they're like, uh, Mr. Yeremy, Mr. Yeremy, your luggage is on the plane headed to Chicago. So I said, what the fuck am I gonna do? They're like, all right, go here. There's a shuttle, though. They're gonna take you to the airport and they're gonna give you something. So they hand you this bag, like a plastic. Think of like, like what like a queen size like bed sheets come in, like that same kind of plastic. You
Yeah.
get there and it's like clothes, like a travel toothbrush, a travel toothpaste, a travel deodorant. I opened this shit up, bro. The shorts and t-shirt. The shorts were shorter than my
I was
boxers.
gonna say you're 6'4". There's no 6'4".
Yes, and there are no fucking 6'4". And the shirt came to like my belly button. So like, and I get like, I am not the guy who goes out. Like, I'm not the guy who wakes up, throws on sweatpants, and goes out. I get like filled with anxiety. You can ask Courtney. Like, I can't grasp that, and I don't judge other people just for me. Like, I'm not the person that can just wake up and like go to the store. Like, I need to shower,
Yeah.
put on cologne, make sure like the hat matches the socks, matches the shoes. Like, I'm that dickhead. So I was like angsty, anxious, hated my life sort of thing. So I'm like, all right. I get there. I'm basically butt naked trying to wash my sweatpants in the sink in this fancy hotel, right? And everybody's looking at you like, what is this piece of shit doing? He doesn't belong here. So it was a Sunday. Long story short, everything's closed. So go back. I have dinner at the hotel. Asked to be sat in the corner so nobody can see me. Like, I'm like, I have to pee, but I don't even want to get up and walk away because there's a bunch of like people dressed in nice suits, like business. Uh, and I don't want to walk by them. So I'm sitting there like kind of squirmy, waiting. So eventually I get back to the hotel. I make it a point to get to the airport in the morning. I find an Adidas shop that's open and I get myself a Real Madrid kit. I'm talking like, they're not sweatpants and they're not jogging pants. They're like kind of in between.
Yep.
So,
I know what you're talking about, the capris.
dude, not
That's
quite
what they wear in
capris.
soccer.
They went all the way down to like my ankles, but they're not loose fitting. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody saw my bulge. Everybody saw the big wheels on the big truck. Everybody saw
Those
the quads.
those
It stayed tight around my calves.
Yep.
And like, I don't like calves are beastly. You know what I mean? Like,
Those are the best pants. They feel so comfy.
well, hey, no shame in my game. And then they give me the shirt. It's like the matching shirt, and it's like half a turtleneck or like three-quarters of a turtleneck.
Yep.
And it looks like you're wearing a shirt over something that's long sleeve, and then the long sleeve comes like this, and you wear it with your thumb through the hole. So I look like a fucking asshole. I get on this plane. Yes. Yes, one of those. So I get up, we get on, and I'm just like, man, whatever. I'm just happy to be in clean clothes, getting ready to watch a movie or whatever. And the flight attendant comes up, and he's like, would you like something? I'm like, yeah, man, I'll take a beer. And he goes, no, fuck you, and walked away.
Barcelona.
And at this point, I was like, this has got to be like, this was such an awesome experience. The Mushi house in Germany was incredible. Sang karaoke, went to soccer matches, drank Becks in a Mercedes on the Autobahn, and then like this is the way it's gonna end. And I was like, whatever, man, fuck that guy. I'm absolutely motherfucking him. He comes back with like a bucket of beers. I shit you not. And he's like, I'm just joking, amigo. Blah 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 blah. Atletico Madrid is his team, and he saw me
Oh,
wearing a Real Madrid kit.
that's
So then
funny.
I have to like relive this story and explain to him that like, and I even threw in like, fuck Ronaldo, I'm a Messi guy. Like, I didn't at this point. I didn't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like, this guy's gonna start feeding me beer. I'm good. I've got like an 8-9 hour flight. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, and then
Dude.
you asked Courtney. She picked me up at O'Hare. I got through customs, and she just laughed.
Oh, I
Like,
bet.
she hadn't seen me in forever, and Courtney's usually the hug, tears of joy. She just sat there and fucking roasted me. Like, she didn't even say anything. She didn't talk any shit. But the way she laughed, the tears, the pointing, the stomping of the foot, she talked more shit than I could ever handle in my life.
Oh, I can't believe the plane gave you Daisy Dukes to wear.
Dude. It's like there was like no like slat, like there was nothing. You know what I mean? There was like no bagginess, no nothing. It was like everybody got to see the donkey, everybody knew what I was working with. It's just that you don't see soccer players that big.
Nope. Not 6'4". Well, some maybe.
Yeah.
But you know what time it is?
Thickest of the week.
Let's go. It's my favorite.
Oh, my goodness. So we've
You
been
want me to
talking about Anita Driver quite a bit.
Okay. You want me to stay on camera this
Yeah,
time?
my preference would be for you to
Okay.
stay on camera. So if you remember last time, the subject of our story, and I'm not talking about thick Rick's neck. We're talking
Yep.
about the young lady who conspired to break into the hotel. Not quite break in, but, go to the hotel and hope that she could accidentally run into Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep. Yep.
And so she bumped into him. They exchanged some words. I think she was starting to maybe get potentially a little,
Frisk.
yes. So, that's where we left off. So, whew.
All right. Is it page 5?
I let you borrow this book, and like ever since I got it back, it's like the
Of course.
pages are super sticky.
Yeah, sorry. I get excited. When someone talks about a thick neck, I get
All
real excited.
right, let me see where this is at. All right.
Here we go.
As the minutes ticked away, Emily found herself more and more drawn to the man before her. She had admired Daniel Ricciardo for the racer for years, but now she found herself equally intrigued by Daniel Ricciardo the man. He was charming, witty, and shared her passion for a sport that defined her life. And that damn neck.
Mm.
Damn. That's how it is. It makes me think of Duke Nukem. Damn.
Damn.
Daniel seemed to share the feeling. It wasn't every day he met a fan who could match his racing anecdotes with ones of their own, who understood the excitement of a perfect lap, the frustration of a pit stop gone wrong, and the heart pounding thrill of a photo finish. As their conversation came to a close, Emily knew she had made an impression. She had taken a chance, made her move, and it paid off. The race, it seemed, was just getting started. Then Emily felt the unexpected pang of disappointment. She had been captivated by their shared passion, their easy banter, and most of all, the genuine and charming man Daniel turned out to be. However, she knew this moment couldn't last forever. Just as she was about to suggest they should probably part ways, Daniel beat her to it, his eyes sparkling with a mix of anticipation and excitement. Emily, our conversation has been the highlight of my day. It's not every day I meet someone who loves racing as much as I do. And I do and can keep up with my pit lane stories. Emily felt her cheeks warm under his praise.
Ooh, what's cheeks?
Thank you, Daniel. I've had a fantastic time too. Man, I would I need to stop wearing pants when I read this.
Uh-oh. Go get those Daisy Dukes.
There. He paused for a moment, seeming to gauge her response before continuing. I was wondering if you'd like to continue our conversation over dinner. There's an Outback Steakhouse nearby.
So racist.
Man, I love you know what I love the authenticity of this book.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
there's an Outback Steakhouse nearby. I would love to share food and my people with you.
yeah.
Emily was momentarily stunned. Was this really happening? Was Daniel Ricciardo, the man she'd admired from afar not so long ago, inviting her to dinner? I'd love that, Daniel, she replied, her voice steady despite the thrill of excitement coursing through her. I've always wanted to try a blooming onion. God damn it! And wash it down with a Foster's. Daniel laughed, clearly pleased by her response. Perfect. It's a date. Let's say 8 o'clock. Whew. Emily nodded, her heart fluttering with the promise of an evening to come. 8 sounds great. As she walked away, Emily couldn't help but replay the encounter in her mind. She was going to dinner with Daniel Ricciardo. This was more than she could have hoped for, and she couldn't wait to see where the race would lead.
Ooh.
The first date. At 8 o'clock sharp, Daniel arrived to pick up Emily for their date. Seeing him standing there, looking casually handsome in a pair of dark jeans and a button down shirt, Emily's heart fluttered with anticipation. His neck glistened in the evening air. His warm smile set her at ease, and they set off for Outback Steakhouse. The restaurant was lively with chatter and comforting aroma of grilled steak. They were seated at a quiet corner booth where they had the perfect balance of privacy and a view of the bustling eatery. The night kicked off with laughter as Daniel insisted Emily try bloomin' onion, a classic Australian starter. "It's not authentic Aussie experience without it," he said, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Emily played along. They both laughed as she took out an exaggerating, cautious bite, only to proclaim, "It's delicious." The laughter set the tone for the rest of the evening. They shared stories about their favorite races, debated over the best drivers of all time, and swapped anecdotes from their lives. Emily found herself opening up to Daniel in a way that she rarely did with others. There was something about him that made her feel comfortable, seen, and appreciated. Their conversation flowed as smoothly as in an Adrian Newey designed car in the wind tunnel, moving from racing to more personal topics. Emily learned about Daniel's childhood in Australia, the various pet kangaroos he owned, his journey into racing, and his dreams of the future. In return, she shared her own story, her passion for the sport, and her aspirations. Throughout their night, the chemistry was undeniable. They found themselves lost in deep conversation, their mutual passion for racing serving as the initial spark that had ignited into something more personal and more intimate. As the evening wore on, Emily realized how much she was enjoying Daniel's company, his charm, his wit, his genuine interest in her stories. All these things made her feel a connection she hadn't anticipated. It was as it was it it was as if they'd known each other for years rather than just a few hours. The night ended with Daniel walking Emily to her car, the air between them electric, with shared laughter and unspoken connection. As she drove home, Emily found herself replaying the night in her head, the smile on her face a testament to the wonderful time that she had spent with Daniel Neck Ricardo. It had been an unforgettable date, and she can only hope this was the first of many more to come.
So they got
They
the
are playing the slow game here.
slow game at Outback. They got their date.
My friend,
Bloomin'
this
onion.
this is the equivalent of book edging.
I know I got a bone dog right now. Thinking about that neck.
Oh my god, that fucking neck.
That was good.
Yeah.
We're gonna get through this book, and the people love it. I actually got DMs saying that they love the thickest of the week lately. So
Somebody's gonna edit it and just like put it all together, and it's just gonna be that. I just absolutely love like how like the Bloomin' Onion and Outback Steakhouse is like authentic Australian.
I
I
know.
think that would be like us writing a story about like visiting Mexico, and it's like, and then we went over to Taco Bell, and I said you must try a chalupa and drink a Corona.
Or them saying that they come over here, hey, we need to go to Applebee's.
Yes, authentic cuisine.
Oh, that's the best.
I'll tell you
Oh,
what, Courtney better be ready because the kid is coming to bed tonight a little like
she better not be sleeping.
yeah, no, if she's not, this this V12 twin turbo is gonna wake her up.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
With
pit
his
stop
with his
cars.
thick neck.
Thick. Just can you rub my neck?
Oh,
It's
Jared.
I saw one thing, and I know like sports cards, levity, all that. But one thing that did make me laugh was I forget who it is, and I really do forget. And it's not like it's not a shit talk. It's just something that humored me. But it was like somebody. It was like one of the people who are like, let's say, like in the we're just asking questions, like the hobby watchdog role. And so they're beefing with somebody, and they're beefing with somebody, and this guy's response to them is like, "Wait a minute, you're mad that I'm asking questions about the questions that you're asking?" And so, like, I went back and forth between a couple Instagram stories. I'm like, "Is this really happening?" I laughed to myself and then went about my day.
That's something you would do. You troll the trolls.
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
exactly.
I think I do want to say though, like the world is pretty shitty right now,
Mhm.
and we just want to send out all the positive vibes, thoughts, prayers, all that good stuff to all the good people out there,
Yep.
and keep your head up, stay positive, look out for the people, around you because everybody's going through it. Everybody has their own unique story. Um, and I hope, if anything, for 65 minutes we distracted you from the bullshit that is life. And you know that's it. I don't have anything more.
And I just want to say thank you to us because now, Silver, Matt, Blaine, they're not crying waiting for a too thick episode. So you're welcome.
Here's the thing, man. If we force it, like obviously we're still better than most.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we're still one percenters even on our worst day. But it's
Yeah.
more fun when we get on here and we could go for 97 hours. Plus, I'm not even gonna say it. I've done like 10 of these fucking things where I'm eating weird shit.
Courtney just wants you to do it and she's never going to post them. She just wants you to, she's doing it out
I
of your.
thought about it the other day. I'm like, wait a minute, I've done a lot of these. Are you ever gonna post it? And then she does the like, oh, I have kids. They have to go to school. We have a business. We have to pay our employees.
I know.
And I was like, excuse,
Yeah.
excuse, excuse. And I give her like the vague, like, I might just start editing videos myself. And she's like, go ahead. And I'm like, nah, I'm probably not going to learn how to edit videos myself. So can I get you a coffee? And would you get that posted? Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to have to buy her a Starbucks card.
Yes.
So, Jeremy, what do you want the people to do?
I would like all the fine folks out there to like, subscribe. No, not just subscribe. I want you to go out. I want you to get a big, big piece of wood, the biggest piece of wood that you can handle. And I want you to put on some gloves. I want you to put on some gloves, despite what some of those corny weightlifting videos say that you need to wear gloves so you can lift more. That is not true. I want you to get a pair of gloves and I want you to grab that big piece of wood because I don't want you to be impacted by slivers. I don't want you to grab the piece of wood or feel something funny on it against your delicate little skin
Yep.
where it distracts you from the task at hand. I want a good pair of gloves. I want you to grab that piece of wood. I want you to go downstairs and smash your keyboard. Subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Sit down with your kids. You don't want to read your kids' books? Allow Uncle Jeremy to read to the hey, you don't have that spark in your marriage. You don't have that spark. Things are getting a little sour. They're getting a little mundane. You need a little something to get you going. Well,
Yeah.
you fast forward to thickest the week, and you let old Uncle Manny and Uncle Jeremy tune you up right. We'll set the mood. We'll set the tone. Next thing you know, you'll be getting your neck licked on. Neck.
Oh man, that was a good outro. With that, I can't even, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed your
I'm getting my Bobby Altoff on. Like fucking, I would hate to be on her podcast. You have to sit there and hold the fucking microphone like that. I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah. We're next interview, we're gonna make the hobby awkward like she does to the people.
I think like I've never watched a full episode, but I think she tried doing it with Shaq, and like Shaq like just like was in character and was like throwing it back at her, which is pretty awesome.
That would be you. So
Yeah, I'm
we
gonna
need to get
that
someone
ruined the whole
timid.
gimmick.
We need to get someone timid and do it to them.
We should.
All
That's
right.
what we should do. We should do an episode where we have somebody on completely unsuspecting,
Yeah.
and just be completely just as awkward and cringe as possible.
Yeah. Let's do it, Brandon. So